Okay, so as we all know, yesterday was the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. So YouGov decided to do a poll asking if the United States made a mistake sending troops to fight in the following wars. These were the most well-known wars in modern American history. And the results are actually very shocking. So 10% of respondents think that the U.S. made a mistake sending troops to fight in World War II, which is insane to me. I would expect it to be like 2% or 3%. 20% say not sure. 70%, only 70%, really, because the headline says 70% of Americans say the U.S. made the right decision. I would expect it to be a lot higher than that, because World War II, out of all the wars, is the one that people like universally should be like, okay, yeah, we had to get involved in that war. Obviously, the world would be a much worse place if the Imperial Japanese and the Nazis were still running around. It would be a horrible thing. So much death and destruction. And then World War One, it's actually very similar. World War One, I do know is like it's definitely like the details are less known to the general public about why we entered that war and what the justification was, but it's actually the numbers are pretty much in line with World War II. 12% of Americans say it was a mistake, 23% are not sure, 65% say that the US made the right decision. And of course, because we won those two wars, I think is the main reason why the level of approval is high compared to the ones lower on the list. Desert Shield and Desert Storm. 30% say that the US made a mistake, 28% are not sure, and 42% think that it was the right decision. So not even close to having a majority. And this one makes a little bit more sense because Desert Storm is really like your average person. If you talk about Desert Storm, they're gonna be like, desert what? They don't know. Like, I think out of all these, this is the one that like the people know the least about. So that seems less surprising to me. Korea is also very interesting. 27% of Americans believe that us entering the Korean War was a mistake. The Korean War. I mean, South Korea is one of our top allies, and North Korea is known for being the most brutal, if not at least one of the most brutal dictatorships and one of the worst places to live in the entire world. Mass starvation, like, people are like, oh yeah, we should, like, it would have been fine if North Korea, like, if all of Korea was communist. So that is very shocking to me, how mixed the response is. I honestly, that's probably about just, like, not just as surprising, but out of all the ones so far, the second most surprising behind the whole World War II one. Like, I would expect, again, like I said, a lot more people to support World War II, us being a part of that. Afghanistan, another one. 43% say it was a mistake, 21% are not sure, 36% think that we made the right decision. I would expect more people to think that it was a mistake. The whole, like, Americans are definitely being more, war-weary and not really liking what we've done in the Middle East for the past 30 plus years at least. And then Iraq, 47% say it was a mistake, 23% not sure, 30% say it was the right decision. I would have expected, like most Republicans at this point would say that Iraq was a mistake. Afghanistan, you'll probably hear a little bit less disapproval for that, but Iraq is like most people would say that it's like it was a horrible thing and it didn't benefit us at all. I mean, it was proven they didn't have weapons of mass destruction, so the whole premise of us entering that war was a complete lie. So I'm actually surprised that the number isn't even higher. It should be like something like 75% is what I would have assumed. And then Vietnam. Vietnam is another one that I would expect a lot more. Only 53% say it was a mistake. That's another one where, like, most people, again, even right-wing conservative people, would be like, yeah, we should not have been involved in that. I wonder if we actually succeeded in our objectives and we still had North Vietnam and South Vietnam. I mean, not that Vietnam is really an enemy at this point. Like, Vietnam is definitely much more chill than North Korea, obviously. But if we actually were more successful there, I wonder if the people's perception of Vietnam would have been a lot different. Probably not, because of the draft and everything, and how it's just, there was a lot of civil unrest at the time. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, honestly, most people who were around back then are no longer alive. But yeah, I would have assumed it would be like another one, like 75-80%. 24% not sure. 23% say it was the right decision. Wow. I'm honestly, I wouldn't have expected, like, if you asked me to just come up with a number, like, how many Americans do you think approved of this war or that war? Like, of all these wars right here, I probably wouldn't have gotten any of these right. I definitely would not have. So this is very, very surprising, and not in a good way. Let me know what you guys think.